Thomas Brigham, Professor Emeritus and former Dean of Social Work, wrote the following.
Patricia R. Pat Pickford was a primary mover in the development of social work education in Fresno, both before and after her actual joining of the teaching faculty. When I first met her in 1953, she was the most enthusiastic member of a special committee on education of the local chapter of the Professional Social Workers Association. She helped pioneer some bachelor's degree level field placements in local agencies, which was unheard of and dangerously radical in those days. Her wisdom, energy, knowledge, character, and personality soon persuaded me to recruit her as a full-time faculty member in the program. In the meantime, Pat Pickford clearly was the greatest thing that ever happened to me in my position at what was then Fresno State College. She became well known at the national accrediting body, the Council on Social Work Education, and to colleagues all over the United States. She was the first chair of our undergraduate program in the Department of Social Welfare, as we evolved into a division of social work and then into a school of social work. In summary, Pat Pickford played a critical role in establishing social work education in Fresno. Her part in that process is the enlightenment and inspiration of those who follow her.
I was born in Fresno in 1922. Fresno was still not a very big town. And I've essentially lived here all my life. My parents were Rollin Pickford and Ruth Lingby Pickford. My mother was a very committed mother. And one of the regrets of my life is that I didn't team up with one of my sisters-in-law and make her go back to college, because she could have done it very well. She was extremely bright. I went to Heaton Elementary School, Fresno High School, Fresno State. I got my bachelor's degree in English literature there. I went off to, after I graduated, went off to Berkeley to try to get a secondary teaching credential. It didn't work out because in both of the practice teaching assignments that I had, the master teachers had told me that the material I was presenting to these youngsters was college level material. I had two friends who I'd known in college who were working at the welfare department. So they said, go take the exam, and we are hiring people all the time. So I went and took the exam, and after about the third question, I realized that it was mainly a test of how well one could read. I didn't have any trouble with that, so I passed the exam knowing nothing about social work or social welfare. Well, I discovered that I loved it. So, because I was helping people with all kinds of health problems and trying to get them connected to the right services and so on. Nobody, at that point, nobody in the whole department had had any education for social work. And they hired a new director whose name was Donald Jensen. And he actually had a graduate degree in social work. So when he came to the department, one of his prime hopes was to get some of the staff educated for what we were doing. So he worked out an arrangement with Don Howard, who was the dean of the School of Social Work at UCLA at the time. and they created a first year of graduate education for social work that was taught partly on the UCLA campus in the summers and partly here. I became acquainted with Tom Brigham because when he came to Fresno State and started developing the undergraduate program, he wanted to send students to us for internships, so they were assigned to me. And so that's how we got acquainted, and it was really fascinating because Tom and I discovered that we really had sort of the same passion about what we were doing. I actually completed my master's degree after Tom and I got acquainted. But in the spring of 1957, or actually it was in the fall of 1956, after I had completed my MSW, he asked me if I'd like to teach a class. And I said yes, and did so at night. And so I guess I did well enough that he decided he could convince the powers that be to hire me. Social process in anything, but it's particularly important in social work, I think, in the policy arena, because policy is what runs the whole show. And unless you have some programs that you're trying to administer, there isn't much you can do except what people in private practice do. I guess I learned that a long time ago, that cooperation is where the real power is in getting things done. So, well, I just feel extremely fortunate to have discovered social work, which I told you I knew nothing about when I first went to work as a social worker. Because it's really aimed at the things that are fundamental in life, and is trying to help people become who they can be, and to be sure that they have the resources that they need to live decent lives. You know, when you're really able to help somebody achieve something that maybe in their younger years they never thought they could, there just isn't anything more satisfying than that. It's very fulfilling kind of experience. I just feel so lucky and blessed that my life revealed itself to me. I didn't plan to be a social worker. I didn't plan to become a social work educator. It all just revealed itself to me as I loved working with students because it was such a pleasure to see them grow and go up and do amazing things themselves. I think if you were ever to talk to some of my former students, that many of them would tell you I was pretty pushy. And I was, because I wanted them to learn. And they did. I don't know how I got so lucky.